everybody, and welcome back to the Chilluminati podcast, episode 283. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mike Martin, joined today. I already did the one I was about to say, actually. Oh, Alex, you froze. You're back. Okay.
No, what? I'm good.
Well, welcome back. Yeah, you froze for a second and then came back.
Holy shit.
You know what? Fuck it. The Mork and Mindy of LA. Who's who?
Nanu.
With the crazy egg dumb shit online right now, Mork and Mindy feels appropriate. With the,
I'm definitely Mindy
stuff.
Between the two.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
You never seen Mork from
I know, like I know of it, like the pop culture of what it is, but like I've never seen an episode.
Huh? Nano. I'm on cocaine at the time. It's crazy.
It's a groovy little show though. He's fucking hilariously like. I feel like he is like if he came on TV, Robin Williams. If he came on TV like today, which obviously there's not like really TV today or really anything today, but like. I think he would be like too annoying for like a TV comedy today, but that energy, he's like Jim Carrey where you're like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, what are you doing?
A man who was
having
able to
a good time, living life.
Shame is something he left behind such a long time ago and just enjoying life.
She was funny.
And being crazy.
Great show. And it's a Happy Day spinoff.
Mork and Mindy is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Is that true?
That's mystery number one on of today. Bang, boom. First mind blow of the day right there. Joni loves Chachi. Joni loves Chachi and Mork and Mindy.
Okay, cool. Learned. I've seen Happy Days, so you know that's good at least.
Happy Days is a great show. That's like, I mean, are you watching? Is this the reason that you haven't seen a lot of shows because you're watching them in order?
Yeah. I started with the first televised show of all time.
Yeah.
And well, actually, silent movies first. You gotta
see
that.
That was easy though. You just put them on and do something else.
Yeah. It's a masterpiece, man.
Play
I
DS.
did go and see the new Nosferatu, boys. I will say that, and it was
loved it.
Fucking phenomenal.
Loved it.
I didn't realize it was the same director. I mean, I should have known, but I didn't know Roger Eggers did The Witch as well. But it makes sense. I haven't seen The Lighthouse yet. I know that's like you need to go see it.
That's the ultimate Jesse movie, actually. The Lighthouse.
Yeah,
that's a big truther right there.
But Nosferatu was great. It was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. I hope people go see that movie and it does well.
Is it? I hope it is. It's really good.
Have you not seen it?
No, I mean the movie. I saw the movie. I just hope it's doing well.
Oh yeah, me too. I don't know how it's doing. That's a good question, but it's still in theaters, so it's got to be at least like a good sign, right?
Worth it just for Willem Dafoe, but also everybody in it is good.
Everybody. Skarsgård is unrecognizable.
Yeah, literally, he's just got like a fucking Waluigi like mustache on his goddamn face, and he's floating around like if Borat got like the T virus.
Cool. I mean, yeah, I guess so. That's right. Did you go see it, Jesse? Did you see Nosferatu?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Very cool.
I look, guys, I love you. We're about to do a 15-hour episode. I literally don't care about Nosferatu. I just don't care.
It's the last part of
I know I have
Cornerfest.
to sit here for like 12 hours listening to Alex's insane ramblings. And I must stress to you, I just don't have the mental fortitude to be like, let's small talk up at the top here. And I just don't care. Let's get into it. We're going to be here all damn night. Let's just go.
Something that I was going to tell you off camera, but you told me to say for on camera.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I don't want to say shaken because I'm not like shaken, but I'm like weirdly at a loss for words for what I just saw in the sky. And granted, I've seen what I've seen, but every time I've seen what I've seen, there's always that, you know, I'm like, well, it still was like, you know, with the tube spinning, mundane. Could have been maybe a bird still, right? The thing I saw in the sky that moved weird, not a satellite, maybe it was just a drone that didn't have blinking light, whatever. Everything, the triangle's still kind of weird, but that could even potentially be described in some way. So I was coming up here to get ready for the episode at like an hour ago, and my room is dark and it's cold. So, you know, in Texas, it snowed. It's frigid out there. Like this state is not built for that shit. So I'm not like going outside very much right now, but my window has a very nice view. I'm on the second floor of the house, like out into the sky. And every once in a while, like while the lights are out, I'll pop out, just kind of peek out there. And I came up here and I did exactly that. And off to my left, below the tree line, here's a light. It's coming from the direction of the airport. So I think it's like, and I'm just watching it because I think it's an airplane. And it's pitch white and it's not blinking. And it comes into, so there's trees and then there's a clearing, like a nice little patch where like within the trees is like a clear shot you can see through to the sky. As it gets more sporadic and then it goes up and turns into the sky. And this white light comes into that clearing, but it didn't come in a straight line. It zigzagged and stopped and hesitated and moved. And as I saw it, I yelled down to Jess and I said, can you get up here? Can you hurry up? And so she comes running up the stairs and I'm like, just look at the light into the trees. Do you see it? And she sees it and it's moving still. And it zigzags into the position. And that minute she takes out her camera, and this is why I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do this on the show because I know how it sounds. As soon as she takes out the camera, the moment it's on the lens, it stops moving. We watch it for maybe 3-4 minutes, and we watch as it bobs, goes back and forth and inches up. Like it got to that position quickly, and then it inched up over the course of about 2 to 3 minutes or so into the tree line where we lost sight of it. And it was there for approximately 30 minutes, and it just peeked out over there. And it's just like, there's no question that I saw this thing, and she saw it as well, move quickly into position and then stop. And it just looks like a star in the sky. She took video of it anyway, just in case, like to have it. Like, I don't understand. Like, I genuinely don't know. And it's still like, let me go look, because it was still there.
He's gone.
He's looking. He left. He just got up and left. It's not moved. It's just still in the same position that it's been the whole time.
No, it's moved. So it moved up into behind the trees. Then it came up out of the trees. And now from where it was, it's actually a huge distance from where it was to where it is right now over the course of maybe 15 minutes. I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you. All I can tell you is I watched it with Jess move into place, stop, and then seemingly inch its way out of view into the trees and then stay there for like 30 or 40 minutes. And now it's like, I assume, like, I don't know, man. I genuinely am like.
Would you say it's a drone? Would you say it could be a drone?
No, that's drone. I've seen drones and even the things like it's not wobbling or moving. It's still there. And hobbyist drones don't have a battery that can last
too long for a drone.
Yeah. It needs to last a lot longer. And again,
so
I would remind you that this is also restricted airspace because the airport is right over there. So
what would it be then?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
That's all right. You can't say it's not a drone, restricted airspace.
It's still
but
there.
I can't tell you.
Like, it moved into position, stayed there, and is still just.
So what do you think it is?
I don't know. That's the point. That's why I'm like.
But it's sounding like you do.
No, I'm not. Listen, of course you're going to jump to your brain is going to jump to conclusions, but I can't tell you that's what it is because I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know.
But you know it's not a drone.
If it's a drone, it's lasting quite a fucking long time and it's still just slowly moving in the sky.
But if it's not a drone,
because it would be moving still.
And it's not a plane.
And it's not a satellite.
And it's not a helicopter.
Thank you for reminding me.
Then what is it?
Another weird thing last night.
Superman.
Right over, God, I don't know, maybe a mile and a half up that way to the south. Again, I live in a very residential area. I saw last night looking out I heard a large whirring, like a whir out. And I look and I see these blinking lights. So it looked like a plane, but then a sharp turn. I think it's a helicopter did like a loop and it did a second one and then descended below where I could see it. And then I lost it, but you could still hear it for a distance. So there was a helicopter yesterday. I did see a helicopter. It ain't a helicopter.
Do you feel like you're on alert now? Do you feel like you're just like I'm always looking at the sky?
Well, I mean, I've been looking at the sky for years, like for a lot. Mm-hmm. And if something moves and catches my eye, I look at it. Yeah, I'm gonna like look at it. The thing is,
if let's say like since you first saw something like in LA, right? Like since you first saw
have I looked more?
Yeah, like if you had the iPhone
I don't look less.
Activity monitor.
So like, yeah, I would say probably I look more for sure.
I mean, I hope that we get to see an alien that shows up and says, "What up, Mathis?" Because that's the only way. Like,
long-time listener, first-time caller,
yeah, first-time caller, first-time invader.
Shine the light in my window, and just like you see a bright light hit me.
Because otherwise, it 100 like just on the surface. This is no like jab at you. It 100%. You are going down the path of every single paranormal / UFO podcast ever. Where there's one guy who's like, I'm seeing things, and it sounds insane. Like as a friend, it sounds crazy.
I wanted to tell you off camera. camera. Like I was like, the plan was to just tell you guys as friends, but you're like, no, save it for the show. So here I am.
We're all friends. The entire
friends, yeah.
the
You know what I
entire
mean?
listenership is friends.
I don't know what to tell you. It moved within seconds. It wasn't like it inched its way into position. It like came up, stopped, and then inched out of view. And I assume what I'm seeing in the sky is what it was, because it's like you could kind of catch it in between the branches here and there. But I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think you would be least surprised to discover it was?
Least surprised? I guess a
like
drone
Occam's
would
razor
probably
explanation.
make like grounded sense, right? Like that's probably the most logical explanation.
Yeah. Ignoring the battery issues and
battery,
whatnot.
no blinking FAA lights. It's just like a solid. It looks like genuinely. Like if I could see it, I'll take a picture of it. Actually, just had a video.
I worry that we don't know enough.
I don't know.
Does that make any sense? That's the thing. No. I mean, like I worry we don't know enough about how like low satellites can get. Or move. What star is in what part of the sky, or when planets are like I feel like the general public just doesn't have enough knowledge. So I feel like a lot of these are just people spotting things that have really mundane explanations, but everyone's like worked up because aliens.
I'm just telling you what I saw, man. I don't know what to tell you. It was
understood.
Just a solid light
Completely
that
understood.
Moved and then stopped, and we got video of it where it stopped, and you could see kind of in the tree line where it stopped.
I would love to see video.
Sure, I'll send you a video. But again, it just looks like a star in the sky. It's all it looks like.
I still think it's worth talking about, because when that one crazy thing happens, right?
Yep.
Like it's worth having a record of all the other weird things that happen. That's the real thing. When something's up in the sky and you try and film it, good luck.
Because this is when she like this. It's the minute she put the camera on it, it stopped. This is where it just stopped.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, it's not even. Oh, it turned off.
Yeah, it dimmed a couple times. I don't know. I don't know though.
It turned fully up, but I also think maybe whatever these things are that are waving around.
Those are branches. Yeah, so it's like through the trees.
Whatever those are seem to maybe be just getting in the way possible. Of it, and they're not in focus. 100%. But it looks to be totally. It looks to be totally still in these. Obviously,
yeah. That's why we were both looking at each other too, and like when it stopped, and I said to her, I'm like, it like stopped when you immediately filmed, and she looked at me and she goes, that's crazy. Like, because it wasn't every other light that she's seen that I've seen. She's like, yeah, it was weird if it was a plane. This one, there's no question. She's like, that shit, I don't understand.
Interesting. I still haven't seen something in the sky that made me feel crazy yet.
This is like, I'm starting to get, if people are truly seeing things, here's a third video. Got it. And then they start like talking to their friends about it. I get it. There's no way to talk about what you see without sounding fucking insane. And I am like,
I don't even care if I get good evidence. I just want to have the experience of
that's
believing
what I'm saying. Like I'm today more than any of the other ones that I've seen. Today was the one where I'm like, holy shit. What the fuck was that?
The commentary is so good, but I can't listen to it too loud because I'm on mic, but it's so funny.
You saw a zigzag. We're trying to like anything. We're trying to work anything to make it like can it communicate? Can it move?
Right.
And it just doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
We see it bob a little bit and like whatnot, but like it just it inches its way out of view. And that was the weird thing is like, unless you're watching it, Jess even said, I think it's still moving. Like, unless you keep track of the tree line, unless you're literally watching it, it wouldn't look like it's moving to you. But if you watch it, it moved very slowly until it was out of view. And then, like I said, in the tree line again, but it moved into position within within a few seconds. So like,
it's wild because your window is so narrow of a viewing portal to the outside that you're able to see.
I have a good view, like that's zoomed in footage right there, like that you're getting. But yeah, like it's just the southwest area, I think, is where we're looking, or southeast rather. I literally wish I had more. I wish I could do more. I wish I could say more. I wish I had like the video of it moving.
I'm definitely, next time I'm at your house, I'm definitely going to be doing some looking around and thinking about it.
It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I don't have an answer, and I won't have an answer. And that's the frustrating part is like, I was like, I don't know if like more than anything I have seen tonight, got me as close to convinced as possible. Like, that made no sense.
For those who are listening or want to know what it's like, it's a white dot.
Yeah, it looks like a star in the sky.
I want to be Team Mathis on this, but it's a white dot.
It's a white dot.
I don't know.
That's what it was gonna look.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a white dot.
It's a white dot in the sky.
That's all it is.
Not surprised.
No.
Yeah,
And
not a surprise.
It's sitting there and it blinks on and off sometimes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm on the Mathis saw something
There's no
train,
way for
but
you
I
to
believe
be,
that he
because
has
there's-
seen
he
things.
recorded
there's no
something
way-
for
yeah, 'cause
sure.
that's after, like, I get it. There's no way for you to be. You can't.
Like, I don't think you're I don't think you're lying. You know what I
You
mean?
clearly saw something.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're a liar. I'm just saying you clearly saw something, but it's like all UFO or UAP evidence. It is just a blinking white light. I don't know what to tell you.
Actually, like, it was amazing when it was happening. Like, me and Jess were like flabbergasted. Now I'm like, it's infuriating to try and like tell somebody about, because you're like, well, whatever. I sound fucking.
Yeah, because you have the evidence, but it's absolutely
that's
no
not,
way
see, that's the
convincing.
problem. That's not evidence. That's just a video of.
I mean,
the
it
light.
is technically evidence. It's just completely unconvincing. Yeah.
And my Sky Guide app doesn't fucking work right now for some reason. I can't get it to work. And a couple of the other apps I downloaded, I'm not able to get them to work, but that just could be because of the fucking phone. I don't know.
Well, maybe you're now
I
on a
don't
watch
know,
list.
man. Yeah, well, I would rather Men in Black show up. Fucking feel free.
Man, I don't want that for you.
If they show
Let's
up,
keep
I'm going to
you
go
off list. How about that?
Well, yeah, especially right now. I'm not trying to take up the first 10 minutes. It's fucking, I don't know. It's fresh. It's an hour and a half old at this point. Like, it happened at 7:07. I looked at my clock.
I think we should always talk about firsthand experiences. I don't think there's anything
and it is
you should be
genuinely
worried
weird
about taking of Sky.
Now I'm seeing things after LA.
Guys, do you remember Squid Game?
Yes. Season
That show?
2.
No, what's that
Season
about?
2.
You mean Squid Games? My favorite show?
No,
Squid Games?
No, the game the movie Squid Games. Squid Game, the movie Squid Game. Anyway, it's not a red light. It's a green light for today's final episode of Cornerfest 25. It's time for episode D. I have not seen Squid Game season 2 yet. I haven't seen that. I don't take it. I don't have anything else to say today. Besides, I'm excited to be here. I'm grateful for another excellent year of the show. Thanks to all the listeners. And to kick us off right today, here's another.
Before you begin,
Sure.
I just want to say, since we're talking about Squid Game,
Of course.
are you aware that Netflix is so shameless about how much they love Squid Game? They're creating a Squid Game cinematic universe, and I just want everyone to know,
Wow.
artistry is dead.
I'm going to go
Creativity
online.
died
I'm
years
going to
ago.
go online. I'm going to say bad idea.
Yeah, what the fuck? That's the opposite of the message of the show.
If you want to watch something great, though, go watch the Hot Ones versus. That's the two guys from Squid Game. The guy in the mask and the main guy. Just to kick us off today, like we have been doing, the archaeological dig is done. Everybody's back home with their families. It's great. Here's another set of words from our Chill at Rest. This time, just deep from the archives, from member DKL, since it's episode D, which again, I've changed to make more appropriate for our brand. So this is for Jesse to read. Here we go.
Absurdity is what I like most in life, and there's humor in struggling and ignorance. If you saw a man repeatedly running into a wall until he was a bloody pulp, after a while it would make you laugh, because it becomes absurd. Patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod?
I didn't even know what Mathis was going to say before I got that quote. Anyway, get ready. Happy 2025. Get ready for a year on Life Path number 3. Cornerfest week 4. Begin.
But like, if we're on Life Path 3, why 4 episodes?
Huh? Because 24 is divisible. It's clean. It's just that's just a pragmatism thing. That's not really a mystical thing. Numerology is really powerful, but sometimes you just got to use organization. You know what I mean?
But isn't organization
They're both really
nothing
powerful.
more than math made letters?
Order from chaos,
go.
baby. Today's episode is a little bit different in flavor, I think, than the other ones. That's just a little note, editor's note. This first one's called Shark, No Shark. Cameron Robbins was an 18-year-old kid from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who, with a big group of friends, were out on a party boat called Blackbeard's Revenge to cruise the Bahamas and celebrate their recent high school graduation on May 24th, 2023. I'm sure some of you saw this clip and you probably already know what I'm talking about. But just in case you don't, prepare yourselves for a bummer, because here's Mathis with a quote from the
not
article.
Like to listen to this clip again.
The article from the Rolling Stone. Yeah, you don't have to.
According to local Baton Rouge station, WAFB, witnesses told police that the alcohol was flowing and the music was loud when Robbins apparently jumped off of the boat on a dare. Quote, "The kid fucking jumped off," someone shouts in a now viral video claiming to show Robbins' last moments. In the video, the boy can be seen struggling to keep swimming alongside the boat before he moves away from a floating rescue buoy and off screen. "Oh, bye-bye," the voice continues. "Grab the buoy," yells another, as the camera captures a now dark and seemingly empty expanse of water. Yo, this kid's fucking gone.
And I wasn't able to find like a cleanly hosted rip of this. If you want to watch this clip, I warn you, if you got thalassophobia, it's not the best clip.
Yeah, listen,
or if you watch that Blake Lively movie and it wasn't for you, this is not a clip for you. But there it is. That's a little Google Drive link just for you guys, but it's also on the Reddit page. So
it absolutely is messed up. Dude is overboard, and it is a dark black ocean. And the one thing that's the mystery is there's a noise, and people are like, "Is that the dude screaming? What's going on there?"
Yeah.
It's very creepy.
Yeah. So 3 days later, after this happened on May 27th, after searching 320 square miles of ocean, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force calls off the search, and officially Cameron Robbins was declared legally deceased and lost at sea. One thing that's kind of wild, though, is that in just the week or two after this happened, this clip was passed around and around and around so much that, according to Rolling Stone, the hashtag Cameron Robbins had been viewed over 132 million times on TikTok. And what's even worse was that they weren't like it wasn't just like a case of people directly exploiting the last known footage of a recently dead person for views. It was more like genuine speculation, excitement, and theory crafting about what went down. And here's Jesse with a quote from that article right here.
"Some suggest that rather than drowning, Robbins was attacked by sharks, offering evidence in the form of slowed down and poorly enhanced clips. The fact that they're blurry and not definitively and do not definitively show even the outline of a shark hasn't kept the videos from going viral. Several accounts have also claimed to use audio isolation to prove an unintelligible shout in the video is warning the teen about the fin in the water. Robbins is featured on crime accounts and news TikToks, and there's even a growing trend that puts sad songs behind videos imagining Robbins' last moments. Speculation grew so large that in an interview with Fox News, a spokesperson for the United Cajun Navy addressed the rumors, saying that Robbins' family had asked rescuers to shut the theory down. None of the experts consulted can definitely say what's in the video due to the quality and length of the video. Cajun Navy spokesperson Brian Trasher said, "The Robbins family has requested that we not entertain that theory any longer, so our official position is that we don't know what happened while Cam was in the water."
And so, after being tantalized about this for a little bit, I decided I would investigate this notion a little further, and almost immediately found a subreddit called r/Cameron Robbins Shark, which has absolutely every last piece of information I could possibly want about this, including the footage I shared with you today, and a comprehensive list of any relevant quotes or posts from any comment section, any article or forum about this on the internet, and which still has people posting in it very often, like for considering what it is. There's a link to it if you want. It's going to be in the show notes. The main sort of like consensus about it is that it's the best place that you can definitely see the shark, according to everybody in this, is in the first 4 seconds of the video, pretty much just above center, right after the dude says this kid fucking jumped off. You can see it in the water. To me, actually, I think it's very clear that there is actually something in the water there. But just to give you an idea of how hardcore people believe in this and how vividly memory can diverge from fact, here's a quote posted on the sub from the comment section of a Lexus Ant live stream about the clip from Mathis to read, from user Metal Sage. Maybe if you're at home listening to this, maybe grab a version of the clip to watch along with, since as you'll all see, we can sync them all to the same lines of dialogue. And honestly, I remind you, there's only the one clip which you've already seen of this. And this is how one person describes it.
The video I saw was right after it happened, and it was the Bye Bye Kid recording. It was literally over in 10 seconds or less. The video started with the camera on Cameron. He was wearing only shorts as he jumped over the side of the boat like he was jumping into a swimming pool. He wasn't pushed or thrown, and he didn't slip. He jumped in an almost cannonball-like position, straightening up just before hitting the water. The Bye Bye Kid yelled, "This stupid fucking kid jumped off." The lifesaver hit the water just as Cameron surfaced. Cameron totally ignores the lifesaver, looking completely away from it and something in the water. Yelling and screaming breaks out as Cameron throws a punch, then turns to swim away. The camera pans away and the Bye Bye Kid says, "Oh my fucking God." Then pans back to Cameron, who's now missing his left arm, but still trying to swim away. That's when the Bye Bye Kid started with the bye bye. You can hear another kid saying something's chomping on his shit, bro. The kid then yells, "Grab the buoy." The Bye Bye Kid yells it too, but you can hear an almost sadistic, humorous overtone in his voice. Cameron, already bitten in half, looks back at the ship, then ahead again as he moves unnaturally through the water. He then pulled under and devoured. When Cameron is gone, the Bye Bye Kid says, "Kid's fucking gone, man. Yup. When I first saw that video, I knew it was a shark attack. When he was missing his left arm, I had no idea it would turn into this massive cover up. Not in my wildest dreams. That poor kid gone like that, 10 seconds or less. He deserves justice, but he'll never get it."
I've never wanted to know what someone saw more in my life, because that is not even right. Having just watched it seconds ago.
Yeah, trying to see that in there. I can see where he thinks maybe the arm
is happening.
I think I see where maybe he's referring to about the missing arm, but it's clearly not a missing arm.
Yeah, you would see blood in the water, wouldn't you?
It's just him in the water.
I mean, it's very dark. So seeing anything in the water, the biggest thing is anyone who has spent any time at night near big open bodies of water, you can't see shit.
Yeah, it's like a black void.
The fact that he would see the shark and then swim away, he wouldn't know the shark was there.
No,
even remotely.
He just got there like 2 seconds ago. He doesn't even know which way the boat is for sure.
He couldn't look at he could.
Plus he's wasted.
His first reaction would be to look at the light, which would be the boat.
Yeah.
And to see, like, you wouldn't see a shark in the, like, hanging out, "What up, bud?" Like, it's just, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, in the real world, Christian Parton is a marine biologist and a shark researcher who runs the channel Shark Bytes on YouTube, which is excellent if you haven't checked it out. And in the name of Jesse Cox and the other great skeptics of history, here is his reasons why he thinks it's not a shark, and especially not a great white, as so many people have tried to say it is, even though that's crazy. Also, the video will be in the show notes. First, the cruise that Cameron was on wasn't like a cruise ship like many people think it is. It was actually a pirate-themed cruise, like the type that you like pay for a ticket to go on, like for the evening. Like I said, it was called the Blackbeard's Revenge, and like I said, it's more like you stick close to the shore, you go on a route, there's like drinks, you do a little fun sea activities for a few hours, and you come home to the same place that you left, kind of deal. This type of thing happens right smack near Nassau Island in the Bahamas, which is like the main tourism hub, where the nature isn't very plentiful, and the likelihood of it being a shark that was out there in the water goes way down in that area. Because of that, especially anything close to a dangerous shark, it's just very unlikely. Second, boats are usually pretty loud from underwater, and traditionally sharks fucking hate them. And if it was a shark in the water, which actually this guy does kind of think it might be like a not very big shark in the water, just because the area where the boat was likely at when Cameron jumped off it was near a place called Athol Island. It's rumored to be regularly like chummed up so that people can snorkel and like see sharks near it. And so the sharks like know to go there to get food. Even in that situation, the shark that if there is a shark sitting right there, the shark's probably not looking for a meal, or ready for something to drop into the water right next to it. It wouldn't jump and bite it right away. Even if it did, it would like wait and watch, and it would likely be trying to leave because it's scared. Though it is worth mentioning that a woman was majorly injured by a shark in the waters here snorkeling in 2017.
I mean, okay. The
Third
thing is like, and that's the thing with shark attacks, right? They're few and far between, and almost always, unless they're starving or something, they're gonna basically leave you alone.
Yeah. Third, as a marine biologist and shark field researcher, he is positive that literally everything having to do with Cameron getting attacked by a shark in the clip is bullshit. Like, his best guess, he says, is probably a small Caribbean reef shark that either came for the chum or because there's reports in that area of some of the tours and stuff like that just throwing leftover food overboard, which is not the best practice. But he thinks that just looking at like using the life ring for scale, which is like 30 inches or something like that, he thinks that this thing would be too small to attack Cameron anyway if it was a real shark. And then it probably wouldn't do more, like I said, like hang back and investigate. But anyway, long story short, it's a sharky place, and that might actually be a shark in the clip. But is it a clip of a shark attack? Nothing in the footage itself seems to point towards it. That is Shark No Shark. End part 1. Isn't that nice?
I mean, to be clear, he could have at a certain point been attacked by a shark and killed.
Right.
And,
like later,
but in the video,
right.
I don't know that I buy that.
Right. It's still very unlikely that he died from a shark attack, but it's possible that happened somewhere else after he was.
I mean, as we know, they're godless killing machines, and that shark probably waited till the lights were gone, and he was like, "You're in the dark now, bitch."
Listen, if you're exclusively a Chilluminati listener, they may not know this about you, Jesse, but you are a petrifying fear of.
I have thalassophobia at times a million.
Yeah. You can barely play video games with water in them.
I can't go in a pool without immediately hearing the Jaws theme. It's a pool. Sharks can't even survive in chlorine water, and I'm like, mm-mm.
But what if one fell while they were transporting it to SeaWorld?
Genuinely a fear I've had.
Here's a new segment.
If like a helicopter and it falls from the sky, because that shark when he lands in the water, he's gonna be confused and pissed. Yeah. He's coming for me.
If you want to feel good about yourself, you got to find the clip of David Mitchell, the "Are We the Baddies" guy, talking about the time that he got too scared in the movie theater because he watched Deep Blue Sea. And he was mad that it scared him because it was a shitty movie.
We're going to do a section between sections. Mathis goes and looks, see if the light's still there. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Go check.
Right, there he goes.
We'll be doing this 6 more times. I'm just kidding.
Do you think, genuine question, do you think Mathis the entire time was wondering if it was still there?
Yes, I was.
Yes, he was like in his own head. Like,
yeah, he's got his headphones on. He can hear us. I'm sure he's going to come back and say yes.
I can't wait. I genuinely hope it like is closer.
I hope it's like he can see like two guys like, hey, what's up, man?
I want him to not come back. I want him to get abducted.
Brother, are you fucking serious?
What?
I don't know. He's screaming at something.
Come back to the mic.
We don't know what you're saying.
I was like,
it's compressing.
It's gone. And all of a sudden, bink, it's bright as fuck and fucking out there, but it hasn't moved from where it was when we started this 30 minutes ago. It's literally hasn't moved.
I hope Dean can pick up just a little bit of that screaming. That was very good.
God, I hope this is the night. I hope this is the night the man gets abducted. We lose him halfway through bright white light, and we're like, Mathis?
I just thought of the greatest like April Fool's episode of all time, but it's like now spoiled because I said it out loud. Yeah. Where'd he go?
I told you. I don't
Did he get abducted when I wasn't looking?
Lost him for this episode. He is obsessed with the light outside his window, and he's not going to focus at all on what this episode is. That's
like the last level of being in the Chilluminati is this type of feeling all the time. That's how it is. That's how you know your brain is working right.
Oh,
that's part of the culture. Where'd you go, Mathis?
Dude. No, he's still here. Never mind.
So weird. It's dimming. It's like really bright and then going, flick, kind of going down. And then
have you considered it's Morse code?
I just got my phone charger so I can get it charged so I can fucking go record if it moves.
Dude, episode D has a chaotic energy because it's the fourth
have you considered
episode
it's
of
Morse
Life Path
code
3.
or maybe
I'm not gonna sit
binary?
there and start doing that shit. All right, that's if I lose this pod.
I really want you to.
Homeless is when I start doing that.
You pointed out that there's four episodes in the Life Path 3 series, and now the vibe is strange. Aliens are on their way to get you.
I wish.
I know. This one is the Bloomberg Breakfast Conference. Do you guys know what Whiplash is?
I mean, both the movie
the
and
movie?
The concept? Yeah. Let's talk about 9/11 for a second. I was watching another weird mystery YouTuber video, this time from the extremely popular Blame It on Jorge, right? You guys know this guy probably. This story kind of just blew my mind. I'm sure the listeners know Blame It on Jorge if they're into that type of thing. This story blew my mind. Shout out to him for bringing it to my attention and all the Redditors out there who do all the hard investigation work they do for completely free most of the time. You guys know who you are. It's freaking crazy. The video is called Who Took This Photograph? But the first, and I'll put that in the show notes if you guys want to watch through it. It's a nice little chunker of a video. But the first thing that I learned that was wild was that the like lost media people, right? Which, just in case you don't know what that is, it's like kind of the weird cousin to what we do, mystery content and stuff, where people go online and they like work together online to find things that don't exist on the internet anymore. That's what lost media is. Like old TV shows or like an old commercial or like a weird song that nobody knows what happened to it or where it's from, or like an old flash site that you can't
something
find
like this the
anymore.
other day, oddly. Then it was like, I think it was a live action pilot for the Backyardigans like kid show that apparently existed, but nobody can find it anymore. But there's like a screenshot of it. Weird.
Yeah, exactly. And it still feels kind of creepy because of the screenshot element, and because a lot of the time it's like a VHS transfer. You still get the forgotten, low budget, like liminal space vibes from lost media. So for whatever reason, when you're smoking weed and you're like 24 years old in 2025, you're probably watching this bullshit. But it's not bullshit. It's actually tight. And I am behind it 100%. So anyway, within those people who look for that stuff is the very, very niche interest of lost media related to the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon in New York City and DC on the morning of September 11th, 2001. And truly, this is a place called 911 Archive. It's a subreddit, 9/11 Archive. And truly, the vibe is just as Jorge said.
Gotta ask you before we get deep into 9/11. Do you remember where you were when 9/11 happened?
I was brushing my teeth, getting ready for school. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was watching the news. I'm on the West Coast,
so I was in school already. I was in English class.
Yeah.
I was in New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Living in New York?
You got like a million phone calls probably.
Other side of the city, or not city, state.
But you lived.
I was in Buffalo at the time.
Before you moved to Ohio?
And I was with my roommate, and we were like getting ready to go to like, I don't know,
college, right?
One of the first days of college.
Yeah.
We were really excited. And suddenly got about 18 calls from people, and they're like, "You okay?" And we were like, "What do you mean?" And then we turned on the TV and we sat there all day. And then they canceled classes for the week. And we were like, what the
that's the day everything.
It was a thing.
Shit changed.
And Rudy Giuliani didn't even know he was about to be New York's biggest hero. But 9/11 Archive is a really good, it's like, it's the people, like, there's definitely like a weird vibe of like gore porn and stuff like that, that like kind of like, you're not going to be able to avoid it on a website where you're collecting archival footage that nobody has. Like most of the time, the stuff that you don't get to see has like, you know, somebody falling out of the fucking building and landing on the fucking ground or whatever. Just horrible shit, or body parts, or like, you know, clips from inside while it's just the worst possible shit that you could imagine. So I had a really rough time like doing this research. But it's a very good subreddit that's maintained very well and handled very well. And it's pretty much, even though the subject matter is heavy duty, it is pretty much the exact opposite of all the weird, like key lime pie flavored subs that I've been talking about this month. But in the video, one of the founders of the sub, a guy called Between Two Towers is his YouTube channel name. He's like a 9/11 historian and researcher. So it's not like, he's not like a fanboy. You know what? He's just like,
I approve the name.
Yeah. He reaches out to Jorge for help, and they start to like collab on this video about a specific notorious piece of obscure 9/11 related media that was first mentioned in 2002 in an article in the New York Times called Accounts from the North Tower, featuring, quote, accounts from survivors of the attack on the World Trade Center's North Tower and the friends and relatives of the victims. I'll put the article in the show notes. It's literally like a oral history type article where it's just kind of collated accounts, unedited. But here is the quote that we're going to use today, which is about 9/11 victim Peter Alderman, which Jesse will read for you now.
Mr. Alderman, a salesman for Bloomberg LP, was on the 106th floor of the North Tower attending a conference at Windows on the World. His picture and that of a colleague, William Kelly, were taken at the conference that morning, and the photographer left with the film just a short while before the plane struck.
And here is that image from the 9/11 archive subreddit, so you can check it out. This is the image that we're going to be talking about today, and this will be in the show notes so you can see it. Basically, there's a black and white version that's fairly high quality, though it's still a scan. And then there's a color version that's much lower quality. And what somebody's done is they've taken the colors from the low quality one and mapped them onto the high quality one, so you can kind of get a sense of what it would look like and see the details on the faces a little better of the people in the picture. It's not a particularly remarkable picture other than that, in about 10 minutes, everybody in it is going to be dead, which is kind of fucked up. 3 years later, two of the editors of that article released a book version called 102 Minutes, where this picture was finally printed for the first time, because it doesn't show up in the New York Times article. They just mention it in that quote. And it's in black and white, and it's simply credited to Bloomberg LP as the photographer, while every single other photo in the book is more directly sourced to a person. So that was really weird. And I'll put a Wikipedia link to 102 Minutes in the show notes if you want. You can buy it on Amazon. It's like basically an expanded version of this exact notion of just like oral histories of what happened that day. So the question remains, who was this photographer that took this photo and then left before the plane struck the towers? So for Between Two Towers, this guy, the lack of any discernible info and just the strange vibe of the photo itself made this into like a little personal obsession for him. And he started to collect as much info about the photo and the circumstances surrounding it as possible. And the conference itself, which was the Waters 2001 Financial Technology Congress, occurred that morning at 8:30 a.m. in a rentable area of the North Tower restaurant, which is that famous restaurant from the World Trade Center called Windows on the World. Takes up floor 106 and 107 of 110 floors. So it's very high up in the World Trade Centers. And attendees started arriving as early as 7 and could probably like have coffee and breakfast and mingle or whatever before. We know that the last 4 people to leave were called Michael Nestor, Liz Thompson, Jeffrey Wharton, and Richard Tierney, because they all took the same elevator out of there at 8:44 a.m. And this is remarkable because literally 2 minutes later at 8:46 a.m. was when the first plane hit the tower, meaning that our mystery photographer had to have left before that time, most likely around the time socializing ended and the conference proper was set to start, probably around 8:30 a.m. And as the video makes clear, in terms of how long it takes to get out of the World Trade Center when you're that high up in the building, it's actually kind of a complicated question because of how the elevators are designed. But if you are indeed at the top, there was an express elevator that went from floor 107 at Windows on the World, housed the like public, the top floor of it was like where the actual restaurant where people could come eat was, and then down was the rental spaces. So, you could go up and then go down, and it's like an express elevator straight to the bottom. But otherwise, I'll give you guys a sort of like diagram of it. I'll put this in the show notes, but you kind of want to look at this because I think it would be helpful if you described it to the people, because basically the World Trade Centers were so tall that like you had to like go to like different like there's like thirds of the building, and you take one elevator to which third you want to be in, and then there's like an elevator network just for that. So that's kind of like how it worked. And so either she took that express elevator down in like 1 minute, literally, which is crazy, or she got in the blue elevators and took that down to the green elevator, and then took the green elevator all the way down, which is like the one that takes you between the thirds. So either way, we know that she had about a 15 to 20 minute window where she could get out of there, where it would make sense. It's really fucking weird. But granted, there's obviously lots of ways to get out of the building other than this. Some took longer than others. But another detail that I learned from Between Two Towers is that maybe the photographer did not exit through the express elevator and had to take the busier blue one, because the actual restaurant part of Windows on the World was not open to the public that morning yet. Like, it wasn't you couldn't just walk in and get a table at that time. It was just for the event. So it would be unlikely that she would like walk through a bunch of locked shit to get to that. So maybe she took it down, but doesn't really matter because we know that they got out because we have the picture. And unfortunately, not one single person actually attending that conference that day made it out of the North Tower. So this photographer, the fact that they got this picture out of there is just like such a crazy coincidence. Here is Mathis with a quote from 102 Minutes' Kevin Flynn, the guy who put that book together, about this.
I've never had the name of the photographer. And for someone who took some picture and had them developed, it may have been just that Bloomberg wanted to protect the privacy of that person. Maybe they were upset about having been there and escaped or whatever. But anyway, I never got that name. Yeah, survivor's guilt is real, you know, like. Yeah.
Yeah. And, that's a very like legitimate reason why maybe this person is going to stay hidden forever. But the photo showed up again in 2011 and 2014 for the first 2 times on the actual internet when several YouTube videos were posted featuring a 911 call that was recorded that morning from the sort of like third guy that's in this picture. Like, I've only mentioned the first 2 guys. The man in the background is called Christopher Hanley. You can't really see him. He's not really like in the picture that much. This 911 call, I will put it in the show notes if you want. Okay. But I warn you, that's a harrowing listen. You don't want to.
Yeah, it's less not safe for work and more not safe for life. It's like
just
it'll stick with you.
It's a day ruiner. You know what I mean? Like,
I've heard a few of these like 911 calls and they're just all fucking awful.
Yeah. I in fact encourage you, even if you're going to just go to the 911 archive subreddit, to gird your loins, because the very first thing that I saw was like one of the most disturbing pieces of footage of anything that I've ever seen. So just so you know, like, fair warning on that. Again, the photo appeared. Do you guys know our Lastimages on Reddit? Know. Basically, it's photographs and video footage of people that's like the last known footage, and then they tell the story of how the person died. And usually it's like them smiling, and it's like they were mauled by a bear or some shit like that.
Good.
Right. So this one's like, look how simple this picture of these people at this business conference is. They all died in 9/11. That's kind of the vibe. And after that, in like around 2017, once that Lastimages post kind of went viral, this was one of the times when the actual photo itself from the conference became like more known among 9/11 researchers. But then out of nowhere, a few years later, an interesting lead happens when William Kelly, one of the guys from the picture, his sister, Colleen Kelly, who founded the September 11th family fund Peaceful Tomorrows, testifies in front of a Senate Judiciary Committee about closing Guantanamo Bay and getting a resolution to the 9/11 Military Commission. She does this in December of 2021 to Biden's administration. She says this, which Jesse will read for us now. It's a pretty affecting quote.
Bill didn't work at the World Trade Center. He happened to be at a 2-day conference, an event he had repeatedly asked his boss to attend. Bill's boss acquiesced, so in twist of fate, Bill was at the wrong place at the wrong time. In a second twist of fate, Bill was photographed inside the conference center on the 106th floor early that morning. The photographer's camera broke, and thankfully, she left the building at about 8:30 a.m. and headed to another assignment. American Airlines Flight 11 struck the North Tower minutes later.
Yeah, pretty fucking crazy. But as you may have noticed, there is one sentence among many that you would not expect to, it's a kind of a weird sentence that gives you a million clues that we never had before. Firstly, we now know that the photographer did not leave because the conference started and she was getting out of there. She left because her camera broke and she had somewhere else to be. And second, we now know from this quote that she seemingly is a she, which was not a piece of information that we had before. And thirdly, Colleen Kelly, because of this sort of familiarity with which she speaks about this, probably knows personally who the photographer is or has at least spoken with them. And also, when Bloomberg did a memorial of their own for 3 men in the picture, who, because Kelly was a Bloomberg employee, even though 102 Minutes credits the photo to Bloomberg themselves, Bloomberg, when they did the article, credited the image to r/Lastimages. So now it's all mixed up. And when Between Two Towers asked them about it, they said they didn't have any photographers at the event. And when they asked the Times about it, they couldn't even find a credit in the photo archives for the picture. And Kevin Flynn didn't return any attempts to be contacted. So nobody knows where he found the photo. And Risk Waters themselves, the company who actually put on the conference and also runs Risk Magazine, just like a famous business magazine, said they did have a photographer lined up for the annual event called Ron Jouts, who had done it before. But he was fired a week before the conference due to conflicts with the editor, John Lloyd. So the magazine had to hire someone else, which is like another crazy coincidence that kept them from being there that day. When John Lloyd was contacted, though, he did remember the conflict with Ron, but claimed not only to have no info about the photo's origins, but also he said, I've never seen this photo before. I don't think this is even our thing. We don't have a copy of this. Even though he works there now, so he would be able to know. He would be able to look and see. He was like, I don't know what this is. I've never seen this. It's not ours. So probably it wasn't the Risk photographer, though admittedly, much of their archives were lost in a move in 2012. So that's where it lay until mid-2024, when this Blame It on Jorge video comes out with Between Two Towers. And they actually got in touch with Colleen Kelly's org, Peaceful Tomorrows, just moments before the video went live, and they were able to make a last-minute update to the video. And here is Mathis with a quote from Between Two Towers himself to take us out of this mystery, which I thought was just kind of an interesting one. Here you go.
I had to say, we want to know who the photographer was and like more about him. She cut me off politely and asked me if I was aware that Peaceful Tomorrows actually had participated in an episode of the Serial podcast. And I was aware that Peaceful Tomorrows was working with them. They had made a Facebook post about like a month ago, and I totally glossed over a tiny piece of information in there that they had, which is that they retell the same basics version of the story, but when the narrator kind of describes a little after Colleen speaks, she specifies that Bloomberg, they had hired a photographer for that conference, and that the photographer had taken photos, plural. And hearing more about Colleen's personal experience after 9/11 and her investigating what happened to her brother, I guess she got a hold of the photographer either through Bloomberg or maybe through a colleague of her brother's who, maybe would have known who it might have been. And she spoke to that photographer personally, and then even specifically mentioned that she studied more of that photographer's photos, implying that not only did the photographer have additional photos that were sent to the family, but in addition to that the photographer had further photos that Colleen was interested in.
But yeah, even though we know that, and some people know who this photographer was, we still have no idea who that photographer is or really what the details are here. So it's kind of an interesting one. But, it raises the good point that if this person doesn't want to be contacted, maybe it is because they don't like the fact that they survived 9/11 so closely. So I wouldn't look too closely at it, but it is a mystery. And if you'd like to contribute to Peaceful Tomorrows, which supports the interest of 9/11 families, there's a donation link for that in the show notes, which again should be present literally anywhere the actual episode is hosted at www.peacefultomorrows.org/donate. And that is mystery number 20, Bing Bang Boom. Next one is called Schulkill.
Schulkill, light check.
He's gone. Again, gone. How you doing, Alex? You have a good day today?
I've been so busy today. Look, it's been a horrible 2 weeks, but I'm happy to be here.
What? It has not moved.
No change?
No blinking, no dimming this time too, just steady light.
Thank you for letting me know that.
No problem.
So next we're going to be doing the Schulkill notes. Schulkill? I don't really know exactly how to pronounce it.
You're running this show.
I've been trying to figure this out because I've watched a million people say the fucking name. I think it's Schulkill, I think. We're going to be doing the Schulkill notes, which I'm sure everybody has heard at least a little about. But just to switch things up a little bit and make things more interesting, I decided that for Cornerfest 25 in honor of our Life Path 3 year, I wanted to cover them from the point of view of lead I-Team reporter and Eyewitness News WBRE and WYOU correspondent Andy Mehalshick, who has made this phenomenon something of a special interest of his over the last year or so in an ongoing local news investigation on the Philadelphia PA homepage website, which is like a news website. So we're going to track it based on the articles that this guy wrote because he's a traditional newsman from the local station, and I think it's very charming. But first, before we do that, we're going to head over to Wikipedia for a brief overview from Jesse for the uninitiated about what exactly the Schulkill notes are. Schulkill notes. Schulkill. Schulkill. Schulkill.
The Schulkill. The Schulkill notes are small pieces of paper with symbolism-oriented conspiracy theories printed on them, which have appeared in many locations in the United States in different forms. Authorship of the notes is unknown, with them often being found inside food packaging, hanging from trees along hiking trails and state parks. They have been discovered primarily in northeastern and central Pennsylvania.
Yeah. And here's a pretty perfect example of what they look like that's included on the wiki page. And probably, if you didn't know what they were before, you probably will recognize them now and go ahead and try and reading some of it for the people out there to give them an idea what we're talking about.
Food packaging. Interesting. Whoa. Yeah, okay.
I'm sure you've seen these.
Imagine a white piece of paper, and on that white folded piece of paper is pure word salad. Just potentially racist word salad.
Yeah, almost
there's
certainly.
all kinds of weird like trigger words in there that are really weird. But it's like it almost has like man with a van vibes, right? Like conspiracy theorist
time
vibes.
man with a van vibes. Yeah.
And yeah, here's an excellent sort of crowdsourced map of them if you want. Also going to be in the show notes because it's just genuinely interesting to see it. But let the people know what's going on with this map. It's pretty involved at this point. There's a lot of these people have found a lot of these notes. And this is just the people that like care about this and are working together, right? You can even zoom out. You can see there's one in Chicago. There's one in Maine.
Oh, yeah.
There's one in Texas.
Yeah, this is definitely a this is definitely a northeast, mostly Pennsylvania thing. But there are outliers, like you said, Texas, Chicago.
Right.
But those are all the ones that are away are food packaging.
Right. Which makes sense, right? And now let's head back to a little over a year ago, one day after Christmas on December 26, 2023, when Andy puts out his first article. A man called Joe Miller, December 26, 2023, in Sugarloaf Township of Luzerne County. Sorry if I butcher all these very specific East Coast names that are from small places, but I'm doing my best. He bought a box of Lucky Charms s'mores at the local grocery store, sat down to have them for breakfast the next morning, and here's Mathis with the quote from him of what he said.
I open up the box. I usually open it up, take the bag out, and I opened this bag like this, so I poured it out in my bowl, and out came this paper that was all folded up just like this. Oh, I was devastated. I mean, I didn't even want to eat the cereal, although I still have the box here. Probably not going to eat it. I don't know what's inside the cereal, or was this note laced with anything? It just bothers me. It's the note that really bothers me. These notes are found inside food, like kids' food.
So he contacted the FBI. So did the I-Team, investigative news team, who also contacted General Mills, who make the cereal, but no one was available for comment at the time. Then we move forward to December 29th, 2023. In the 3 days since the first story went out, there were dozens of reports from across the region of people having similar experiences to Joe Miller. So much so that Congressman Matt Cartwright and Dan Muser were now apparently involved and in contact with the FBI as well. A couple days later, January 2nd, 2024, I-Team, investigative news team, bravely decides to show off the letters themselves, even though they think the content is too appropriate for the news before. They think people have to see this. People have to see these notes. And Andy himself makes a little short for everybody to watch to see if he can help get the word out, and let you guys watch that real quick. I'll put that in the show notes. Pretty good little short, pretty convincing little video. Make it through the 15-second ad that may or may not be with my friend Kurt as the demon from purple.com.
I mean, shout out to this Kia ad. It's
I got
great.
a Harold Shipley and Associates law firm ad.
That's the one I got too.
Only $199, available with wireless charging. Not bad. All right, here we go.
That's Andy.
He's just like, hey, got one of these notes? Let us know so we can do research.
I feel like he should have zoomed in on the note, but that's just me. He just kind of goes to a medium shot of him holding a very tiny note. But He's passionate, you can tell. The next day, on January 3rd, 2024, the variety of sealed products these notes have been found in truly comes into focus. The implications are staggering, with many more accounts of cereals, snacks, even beauty products, eye drops containing the notes. Eyewitness accounts pour in. Here's Jesse and Mathis with 2 more eyewitness accounts right here. Just look at this.
It seemed the note was placed in the box during manufacturing, as it was folded neatly. At first, I thought it was product directions until I unfolded the note. I hope you can find out who's doing this. So unsettling.
I found a note like the one in your story in cereal. I think it was Christmas Eve. Threw it away. Was wondering if it was okay to eat.
And then Congressman Cartwright weighs in, which Jesse will read for us now.
We've had some calls to this office, of course. This is a very weird situation. There's probably a very weird person behind all of it, but you don't want to take chances because there's an implication of public safety when you talk about food products.
He's absolutely right. That big giant rooster is right. Even the
Let me get my suspenders, y'all.
Even the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture got involved since they oversee food supply in the Commonwealth. And Mathis is going to let us know what they had to say on the matter, which was honestly kind of depressing, but also confusing. So that's a pretty good mix.
Prior incidents have turned out to be slips of paper inserted through the sides of cereal box tops, so they are inside the cardboard, but not within the sealed internal packaging. The department has received no recent complaints.
Yeah, literally, basically, we're just like, this doesn't exist. Goodbye. And we're
goodbye.
crazy. Finally, they seem to have just taken the notes over to some guy named Spencer, who runs a computer repair shop in Kingston. And Jesse's going to read the quote from Spencer, Spencer's my favorite character in this whole thing. Here we go.
Initially, from what I'm seeing, there's definitely some computer calls in this, some programming. I'd have to do some compiling to see what it actually cues, if anything. What this is, if it is a code, what it executes, and where it goes. So I can try to identify it if it actually is a code, and what it's supposed to do. It could be something malicious. It could be nothing.
That guy is a guy who tricked the guy who is the newscaster into thinking that he knows more about computers than he does. On January 4th, 2024, the I-Team, investigative news team, confirms notes have now begun popping up in state parks as well across the Commonwealth. And they begin to notice commonalities across the notes having to do with current world events and popular conspiracy theories. And when they go back to Spencer the next day, he's got this to say. So now we get to hear Mathis's version of Spencer.
From what I've been able to tell, there are some connections to the dark web, to some dark websites on it, but there's a cipher within there. It's a piece of the puzzle, basically. So what I think is going on is somebody has shrunk it down. I need more notes to put together actually what it's doing and break down what it's going to.
Spencer is on the case. As the police get more involved, more questions about how these notes are being placed arise. Here's Jesse with a quote from the township of Butler. The police chief, William Feisner, had this to say.
The bigger question is not so much what's in the note as what breach has occurred between the manufacturing place and the point of sale. That they were able to get into a manufacturer's box without being detected, still being sealed.
Which is crazy, right? Suspicions began to arise that the culprit is somebody working somewhere along the supply chain. On January 5th, 2024 now, the notes have now made it into the Today Show on NBC. And as a result, more reports than ever are coming in to people all over Pennsylvania and beyond, finding notes in their products. And as a part of the research, the I-Team investigative news team sends the notes to psychiatrist Dr. Mather Berger, who is also from Kingston, like Spencer. His name may be Matthew. It may be a typo. I'm not sure. Here is Mathis. Here's Mathis with Dr. Matherberger.
Matherberger. They look to me very much like what we would call schizophrenic writing, and what we mean is the writing appears to be called loose association, and loose association is a term of art in psychology, wherein the person's mind writing it makes sense, but unfortunately for us, it just appears to be random words and statements. The fact that it is so disorganized in itself, just the grammar, The syntax are so disorganized says that this is a product of a mind that's also very disorganized.
Another guy who may not know that much about this stuff. The same day, the Pennsylvania Food Merchants Association makes a, quote, deep dive into the circumstances at all levels of the food supply chain. Everybody had no idea what was going on. This is my theory. Nobody had any idea what the fuck this is or anything almost at all. And they just kept giving each other lip service. And then this guy just kept writing news articles about it. It's absolutely crazy. On January 8th, 2024, with reports now as far out as the Jersey Shore, a woman in Lock Haven finds a note inside one of those nice Lindt, the Lindt chocolate bars that come in like a little box. She found one in there. Here's Jesse with a quote from Jennifer.
Yeah, that's definitely something intriguing. Like, who's doing it? It's like somebody that is stocking things. It just seems to be covering such a wide area. It's almost maybe someone or a group is going around putting things in there. I don't know.
Right. So that was on the 8th. On January 10th, 2024, we get another. Every time I say a date, that's a new article. Some people getting the notes begin to express sentiments of empathy for the note writer at this point, now that we're a couple weeks in. Here's Mathis with a quote from Beth, who's starting to feel for the writer of these notes.
I actually think that this is one of the most important aspects of the story. I think that the person could be someone that is labeled in our society as having some sort of mental issue. But the way the note is written, this person is very intelligent, very updated with things through our history that are definitely easily investigated. Oh, things going on in both past and present day.
So that she basically thinks this dude is a genius. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, that's worrying more on her character than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Simultaneously, the I-Team investigative news team is working hard on what they are confidently calling, quote, solid leads, and leave their contact info for anyone with another one, just in case they want to give them one. Next, we go all the way to January 24th, 2024. The public begins to interpret the note writer's message even more. Here's a quote for Jesse to read from Zoe in Colorado, who was researching the notes on her own time and thinks it's a group of like-minded people working together.
It's an ideology that explains the world to you. I think people who postcode are really confused and scared of what the world is. They don't know what's going on.
There's something insightful about it, right? And then Lisa from Berks County, who found a note in a dessert box, kind of agrees, as Mathis will read for us now.
I just opened it up, and when I opened it up, a little white note fell out. Well, I thought, this is odd. What's this? I'm quite concerned as to how or who this secret society, according to what I read, how it's getting around all these areas, and is this a threat? It's scary.
Thank you, Lisa.
Oh,
and
shit.
no leads from the I-Team investigative news team in about 14 days. Then we're 2 days later, January 26th, 2024. The I-Team investigative news team gets in contact with Dr. J.C. Blewett, a real person that is named just to be a joke on this specific show.
Jesse Cox needs to meet J.C. Blewett. I'm just saying.
J.C. Blewett.
J.C. Blewett. He's an associate professor of management at King's College. He gives us his take on the, quote, creepy phenomenon, as our own Dr. J.C. Blewett will read for us now.
My general take is that this is a small-time operation that's trying to snowball, or kind of like the domino effect, where you have a small group of people that are putting these things in there, and others who say, I believe in this conspiracy theory, right? It's probably small-time stuff. And one thing I'm interested in the story is the surveillance element. I'm sure that we're going to figure out who is doing this and then hopefully be able to sanction them and maybe find out more about what they are doing and so forth.
Also, according to their latest sources, the FBI was looking to the Harrisburg area of Pennsylvania as the source of some of these notes, some sort of distribution, warehouse or something over there. But nothing confirmed yet. So I-team, investigative news team, they're on the case. Then we take a big break. We take months off, and we're back with one more article on May 14th, 2024. And finally, in his last update on the story, Andy and the I-Team investigative news team confirmed that the feds are, quote, hot on the trail of the note writer, and whatever the heck it is he might be trying to communicate with us. And he posts the full text of an email that was sent to Congressman Musser from the FDA. And Mathis is going to read some of that for us now to take us out. Pretty much. Here you go.
Over the past 4 years, FDA has received more than 20 complaints regarding several different types of food products containing the same or very similar non-threatening, cryptic, conspiracy-type notes found inside their containers in non-food contact portions, all with retail points of purchase based in areas around Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. These complaints did not report an illness or injury from the products, or no product contamination was discovered. FDA has investigated the matter and determined, based on the product and packaging process and various plant locations, that these localized incidents are more suited for complaint referrals to the jurisdiction of several PA state and or local agencies. For these reasons, FDA has been providing these agencies with these reports for their evaluation and possible follow-up. When FDA receives these complaints, they are documented and the consumer is advised to contact the retailer and product manager or manufacturer, and then the complaint is referred to the appropriate PA state or local agency. Please let us know if we can further assist.
And the investigation still goes on today, all across the internet. And even like earlier this week, a post over on Schulkill Notes turned me onto the concept of quantum grammar, and a guy who maybe Mathis or Jesse should look into sometime, called David Wynn Miller. But that, my friends, is a story for another time. And thanks again to Andy Mehalshick.
Quantum grammar.
David Wynn Miller, like this. I'll type it again like this. Wow, I couldn't do it at all.
Quantum grammar is the concept that suggests that language is a form of energy and that understanding quantum mechanics can improve communication. I mean, okay,
I don't think that's his theory. Oh. That doesn't sound like him. That sounds like a little too together for him. But like I said, that, my friends, is a story for another time. Thanks again to Andy Mehalshick. Let us know if you're a listener of the show and you've ever found a note like this yourself at r/Chilluminati pod. And I'll update everyone on it later if there's anything to tell. That is the Schulkill letters, Schulkill notes, whatever you want to call them. Up next, grave robbing for morons. So grave robbing for morons. Oh, light check real quick. Hold on. Let's do it.
He's checking. He's already
like
gone.
Slinking out of the chair. Look at him.
He wants the world to know that he's seen it. He saws it. He wants to see more of it.
I don't know how to tell you this. It's gone.
It's gone. We've lost it.
There's no light in the sky. It's clear. Nothing.
Something about the Schulkill notes spooked him.
It's gone.
Well, we're going to have to check again after grave robbing for morons. What if it's back?
I mean, I'll look again. It's fucking gone. It's gone.
I just love the existential, like, just bewilderment that's on his face. So grave robbing for morons, in case you haven't heard of it, is supposedly this like kind of classic piece of obscure media. It was originally passed around in the pre-YouTube 90s on VHS. More recently, it's been enshrined on the internet on this French hobbyist's YouTube channel that he keeps of weird footage from old tapes and TV shows, featuring a fairly young-looking man in a jacket, slightly stuttering, talking about the right way to rob graves, how not to get caught, what parts are most valuable, etc., and even shows off a real skull that he supposedly stole off somebody. Introduces himself as Anthony and his friends Gino, Taco, and Poochie. And he says he loves robbing graves for the fun of it. Here's the video. It's 26 minutes long. So you don't need to sit here and watch it right now.
Sat around and really thought about how fun it would be to rob a grave.
Me, I haven't thought about that.
I haven't.
But I do recommend watching this video. It's kind of like a rite of passage almost. I do
recommend grave robbing though.
No, just the vid. The vid is weird.
I know this. Okay.
Yeah. It's an old school one. Yeah. I personally have always loved this clip. I've seen online, and I've even seen it a few times at like archival footage events that sometimes people do at like cool shops and stuff, where you go watch like a bunch of like old commercials and infomercials and stuff like that. I've seen it there. The dude's energy is super weird. There's a lot of debate over whether it's real or a troll. And to me, I just can't get past that he kind of looks like Chachi or Ralph Macchio or something like that. But there's this user C Pager on r nonmurdermysteries, one of my favorite subreddits of all time, who has done a great deep dive on this post. He did a deep dive post on this clip. So watch it in the show notes if you want real quick. Pause it, come back, listen to this next part, or just settle in. Let me go over everything they've concluded so far. It's pretty interesting. Firstly, as far as what year it was filmed, there's a couple interesting things that place it pretty squarely in the 90s sometime. The Evil Dead 2 VHS on the table at 411 shows that it has to be after 1987. So that was the thing that people were going with for a while. Then people noticed that the issue of Fangoria on the table at 543 means that it is at least 1989 because that's like when that issue was out. And then the first appearance of it online is in April of 2003. So we know it was before that on a now dead website called Shocking Videos, which gives us a window of about 14 years where it could be. Also, here's a great quote from that website for Jesse to read, proving that it was already likely a classic in 2003 and was appearing on commercially sold bootleg VHS comps. So here's this for Jesse.
As an added bonus, we'll also throw in Big Brother #2, a skate punk video magazine featuring more stupid teenage tricks like projectile shitting,
Hell yeah.
Yep. Mouse rocketry,
poor
and
mouse.
piss drinking.
Hell yeah. And indeed, this playlist, chopped up version of the video, Grave Robbing for Morons, seems to be copied off that tape. If you watch the first video in the playlist, you can see like a warning, in front of it, like it was edited on there for like a compilation. And at the end, it actually splices into a skate video. So, who knows? On the end of video 9, you'd like halfway through, it just becomes like a sick video of people skating. So there does seem to be some,
Yeah, it just goes what the fuck?
that video's out there and it does seem to be old like that and stuff for real. And as far as where the video was filmed, going off a group online consensus of their accents, they most likely seem to be from New York, or more specifically like Queens or Brooklyn area of New York, which is legitimized by the fact that in the video, they mention that their next big hit is going to be Houdini's grave, which is literally in Queens. Looking at documentation, however, of Houdini's grave being vandalized, it has been hit a few times over the decades because it's a famous grave, especially on Halloween. But the most recent time was in 1993 and only resulted in 2 smashed benches, which like the community got together and replaced. Doesn't really seem like this grave robber's MO. Also, Houdini's body has never been taken or molested or anything. So do with that info what thou wilt. Here is a link to an article talking about the benches.
Molest my body after I'm dead. Have at it. Have a good time.
I just meant molest as in disturb.
Sure.
Here you go. Here's a New York Times article that talks about the benches, but it really doesn't say that much about them. It really just says, quote, the most serious vandalism occurred in 1993 when 2 stone benches at the Houdini gravesite were smashed, possibly with sledgehammers. That's literally all it says. According to C Pager, you should read the article though, because it's interesting and it's about Houdini, who's an interesting cat. But according to C Pager, the most popular theory that hasn't been clearly debunked is that the man in the video is a guy from Red Hook, Brooklyn. Though it mostly just comes from this one comment on the YouTube video, which Mathis will read for us now.
The guy with the grave robberies is from Red Hook, Brooklyn. Goes by the name of Screws. He's been dead damn near 20 years now. He used to sell bones to some of Hoognans over in Sheepshead Bay. I'm surprised that no one knew that. Common knowledge by me. It's common knowledge around me. I'm from Ozone Park originally. It was a local scuttlebutt back in the early 90s when I was a teenager. He ran a chop shop too back in the day. Bootleg movies, knockoff clothes, you name it. That's how he got the nickname Screws. He used to screw everyone over. From what I heard, they found him over in Whitestone in a dumpster by the bridge with his knees parallel with his ears. He'd been bent backwards in the wrong direction as his head was resting against his ears.
Crazy. The other big lead is a guy called Jonathan Herrera, which has now been floated by at least 2 separate commenters on 2 separate videos. And now Jesse's going to read a quote for us about him from the user Alex Cassandra 7305.
It's amazing how the internet torments people by never letting the past stay there. Maybe this comment will help bury this. This is not a hoax. This is real. And the actual story behind the stupid video is what makes this tragic. The kid in the actual video has never been identified because he was brought here illegally by his undocumented mother. The mother was a scam artist, posing as a fake attorney and collecting money from unsuspecting people for counseling. The kid's name was Jonathan Herrera. This was filmed sometime between 90 and 91. The person filming was my brother, Anthony. We lived in Brooklyn, just moved. This kid, Jonathan, was an extreme oddball. But he was the only friend my brother had. he only was his friend because he was able to convince him to do these outlandish things. He actually went around the neighborhood hiding sex clues in various different locations and basically created a perverted scavenger hunt, then pretended to be in on it, going around with my brother, finding these clues as if he wasn't the one who behind them. By the end of the scavenger hunt, the clues would decode into a sick sexual message, and he tried to get other kids involved. The video was filmed in his mother's basement, and it must have been a year or two before he and his mother were deported back to Ecuador. He left my brother, a rattled drug addict who took his own life in 97. Jonathan was a psychotic soul. He convinced my brother to film him doing this shit, and he convinced him to do a whole lot worse. This video is a taste of what kind of sick shit they were up to.
Yep. And then Mathis gets to read another quote about Jonathan Herrera from Steve Michael 652, which I just want to mention lightly might be an Andrew WK reference. I'm not sure. Anyway, here's the quote from Mathis. Bing, bang, boom.
Around 89, when this was filmed, he used to hang out in graveyards. I don't think anyone actually knew what the hell he was doing in those graveyards, but from what I know about him in his backyard, I'd bet my life that the video is real and not a gag. How it ended up online? I'd imagine someone somehow, some way got a hold of the VHS and uploaded it. I don't know how they got a hold of the VHS. It's infuriating that I know this kid, and every time I leave this comment, it gets deleted. I don't expect people to believe me, but I swear I'm telling the truth. Oh, hiccups, dude. And it's even more annoying that I can't prove it. It's literally impossible. No one can. All I can say is, around the late 80s and early 90s, teens hung out in cemeteries. The fucking disturbed ones took it a step further, and what you're seeing is in this VHS is undoubtedly a disturbed one. What I remember, he and his closest friends had walkie-talkies, and they'd use them for playing Manhunt around the container terminals late at night. We hung out with this kid. Manhunt? Okay, I played that. Everyone played that as a kid. 90.
Yeah, hell yeah. And you were, if I remember correctly, also famously in a graveyard when you were a kid.
Oh, yeah. I was in there with my friend and my girlfriend at the time. I don't know if I told the story before. It was open. It was like they had a walking path there, and it was autumn, and we just went and walked it. And then as the sun was going down, we were heading back. And as we were driving out, cops pulled out in front of us. So as we backed up to try and turn around, a different car pulled around behind us. And
this is the most badass thing that's ever happened to you, maybe.
Yeah. And an old couple had seen us walking. To be fair, my girlfriend at the time was wearing a cloak to let you all, just because weird, gothy 19-year-old. They reported us to the cops saying that we were doing, quote unquote, some druidic shit. So they separated three of us. They patted us all down. They went through all of our, his belongings. They took all of his D&D books out of his car. Never got to see those again.
Occult tomes.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. And so, and then we got out of there, and then we went for ice cream about an hour later after we all got kind of calmed down. On our way back from ice cream, same cops pulled us over again because we drove by them.
Why?
And they were like, there was nothing. They didn't give us a ticket, nothing. They literally just pulled us over and grilled us. They called a prisoner transport vehicle, which pulled in front of us. And then they were looking, and I remember him asking me, are you on drugs? Are you on drugs? And I'm like, you could test me. I don't do drugs. I don't give a fuck. I don't do any of that shit. And then they harassed us for a little bit and then left us. And then we got to go home. Massachusetts.
Rhode Island's scariest bad boy.
Yeah. Massachusetts cops, baby.
Anyway, however, on the flip side, one place we know the video is really well known.
That's when I looked like a baby, by the way. I just want you to know that was the era of me, that little tiny baby boy. Me, the scary one.
The one place we know that it's from was the DVD mixtape Ensuring Your Place in Hell Part 1. It's like a huge, anonymously produced bootleg, which cut together this one, another one called Mortuary of the Dead, another one called Cooking with Huck Botko, and one last clip called Exploding Varmints. This is one of the funnest activities that no one does anymore, and it takes work. I'm serious. Nobody hangs out and watches analog shit that they found anymore. That's
blowing up varmints.
No.
That's specifically, you were like, man.
I mean, admittedly, that does take work too.
Nobody sits around, it's a lot of work. Blows up mice with rockets.
I'm just talking about, you go and you watch YouTube. It takes work to find anything new that's anything close to as dank as these videos and as interesting as these videos. It takes a true skill to find that on a place like YouTube. However, at least 2 of the 4 clips have already been revealed as hoaxes. And after talking to the creator, known as Stumpy, YouTuber Barely Sociable, who we've talked about on the show before, was able to confirm that according to him, all 4 clips had 4 different origins and weren't fakes made specifically for the comp. He actually has no idea whether they're fake or real because that was the whole point. And I guess that's why they were here talking about it now too. So anyway, if you know anything about this clip, especially if you have a Jonathan Herrera clip of your own or a Jonathan Herrera story of your own, please email graberobbingformorons@gmail.com, which is somebody who manages a site trying to solve this mystery. Or if you like us more, leave a tip as usual on Chilluminati subreddit r/ChilluminatiPod, and we will read it. Thank you in advance for that. I appreciate you. It is time to talk about the 47 Society now. Are you ready for this?
Hang on.
Light check, real quick. We're coming in. We're on the home stretch.
No, dude, it's gone. It's gone. I don't think he's gonna.
No, that fucker's gone. It's gone. It's not.
It's gone.
There's nothing.
It's gone.
Literally
Yeah,
just
gone.
Devastating.
Gone.
Devastating.
What the fuck?
This
No,
one,
but like, that makes no sense. Like the way, like it came in quick. It inched maybe for a couple hours, moved across the sky.
you need like a local group of people that can look at shit with you. You need that. That's what you
Dude,
need.
that's the weirdest thing that's ever seen. That's the bar none. That is the weirdest experience I've had now seeing some that like tops.
Even bigger, even worse than the triangle.
Because like there's still a part of my brain where the triangle, I'm like, maybe it was possibly still a drone. Like,
So, as we know, since this weird play school fascist administration has taken office, the number 47 has taken on a dire and unrelenting meaning in real life. But today, I want to talk about the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials, where in real time, I noticed that both a poster on the wall behind Neil Patrick Harris's character, the Toymaker, as well as a unit helicopter very prominently displayed the number 47 on them. I saw the number 47 and it just stuck out to me because I was like, that's weird because I saw 47 twice in the same episode. It's kind of weird. The items themselves seem unrelated. One was a text on a pop art poster behind Neil Patrick Harris in the episode, and one was just the tail on a military craft. But weirdly enough, current news about Neil Gaiman aside, when I was watching episodes of the newish Sandman show on Netflix, I started to notice it on buildings and signs and stuff in Sandman as well. 47, 47, 47. And after Googling it, I discovered that there's also a ton of 47s all over media, including Lost, where, for example, 47 people survived the crash, and Agent 47 in the Hitman series of games and films. But far and away, the most prevalent piece of media that has the number 47 in it is episodes of Star Trek, specifically ever since The Next Generation. And in fact, here's Jesse and Mathis with just a few examples of what I'm talking about here.
In the episode Family, Captain Jean-Luc Picard drinks a 47 wine from his brother's vineyard.
in Darmok, the alien word Darmok appears 47 times in the USS Enterprise's internal library.
In The Loss, the Enterprise is scheduled to arrive in the Tilly Beta sector in 6 days, 13 hours, 47 minutes.
In Frame of Mind, Commander William Riker is patient of Ward 47.
In Time's Arrow, Captain Picard uses a phaser setting of 0.47 to open a time portal.
In Descent,
As you do.
of course. In Descent, a holographic projection of physicist Stephen Hawking playing poker shows he has a hand of 4 sevens, which wins him the game.
So yeah, like I said, just a small, that's not in any way an exhaustive list, but the reason for this, as it turns out, is that Next Generation writer and producer Joe Menosky happens to be a graduate of Pomona College in Claremont, California, where there exists a mysterious society whose sole purpose is exploring the, quote, quintessential random number, which is supposedly 47. And here is Mathis with a quote from their website, 47.net.
In the 1960s, Pomona College's Professor Donald Bentley completed a mathematical proof that stated that all numbers were equal. Therefore, all numbers were equal to 47. Since then, students at Pomona have been quietly indoctrinated in the ways of 47. Some believe, Agent 47. Some believe, some doubt, but it is listed in the student handbook right after Glee Club. At this date, we have been unable to obtain a copy of Professor Bentley's proof. However, 1968 Pomona alumnus Wayne Phillips corroborates its existence.
Yeah. And apparently the interest in the number began naturally and informally after he proved that all numbers were 47, apparently. But by the time the late 80s and early 90s rolled around, the society had been distributing material highlighting the mystical power of their chosen number. And luckily enough, I have a very high resolution scan of just such a thing distributed on campus around 1991. So there you go. You can have a look and you can describe to the people. It's quite a complex
Jesus
composition.
Bro. It looks like a ransom note. It just looks like a ransom note. It's got a ton of just like random newspaper clippings on there. One from like says 47 years failed to fray this love knot. I don't know what the fuck that means. View the alien with a picture of, what is that, a fish? Kevin D.
Alien,
Randall,
man.
Captain USAF, and Donald Schmidt, director, present the.
It's just showing that Roswell was 1947.
Got you. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So you got that. It looks like a ransom note. It's like a bunch of things written on and taped together that are all examples of 47. And here is another list of incredible examples of 47's mysticism, even beyond Star Trek and into our real world, for you guys to read now.
Pomona College is located at exit 47 of the San Bernardino Freeway.
There are 47 pipes in the top row of the Lyman Hall organ.
At the time of Pomona's first graduating class in 1894, there were 47 students enrolled.
The Bible credits Jesus with 47 miracles.
The Declaration of Independence has 47 sentences.
There are 47 strings on a concert harp.
In the freshman class that entered Pomona College in the year 2000, there were 47 valedictorians. Well, that just kind of, what's the point?
The tropics of Cancer and Capricorn are located 47 degrees apart.
Did Jim Carrey write this?
Jim Carrey didn't, but it is funny how people attribute meaning to things that are clearly sort of absurd, isn't it? Anyway, it's not exactly clear why 47 has this power, but according to the society, other numbers have some interesting properties as well. But ultimately, they really don't think you should really worry about any of it at all too much, actually. And here's Jesse with a quote from them for the final word on 47. Here we go.
Our research indicates that numbers have lives of their own. 47 appears to be the most playful number, frequently showing up in unusual and or surprising ways. Other numbers have their own characteristics, and we have heard heated testimonials from followers of some of these numbers, including 3, 11, 19, 23, and 42. Keep in mind, 47 spotting is fun. There is no need to make 47 your favorite or lucky number in order to appreciate its synchronicitous ways. Just relax, observe 47 as it reveals to you, and share your experience with the 47 Society.
Isn't that wild?
Brings us back to.
I mean, 23 is right there, so that's cute.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of the Chilluminati a little bit, too.
Sure.
Anyway, that's the 47 Society. And finally, today, the last mystery of Cornerfest 25, pretty much, we got Iki Ningyo. Iki Ningyo are a type of super realistic, quote unquote, living doll that were first created in 18th century Japan, where over the next century, they became so popular that people actually traveled and happily paid money to see them, like a prequel to Madame Tussauds or something like that. They were just like, couldn't believe how good these things looked. However, while extremely creepy, this is just a beautifully intricate old world art form until we get to one specific doll whose story I just think has a poetic beauty to it that was a perfect little aperitif of a closer after this last 10-week burst of Alex episodes to finish us off. Why did I make that sound so like cum-coated?
I know, man. I
don't know what happened there. I don't know why I said that way. That's
I didn't
really
pick
weird.
that up at all. What's going on up there, man?
I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Anyway, back to the story. The specific living doll we're going to be talking about today actually lives in the Ripley's Auditorium, ODD, in Amsterdam, Netherlands. And I found out about it from an article posted on Atlas Obscura in 2016. Just such a super cool, weird story. All right. So like I said, they have this doll that they say you quote, that's so real, you might mistake it for a real person. And everybody wants to lift the loincloth that it's wearing because its dick apparently looks really realistic too. Here's a couple pictures of the doll for you to look at. And honestly, I will say it's a pretty shockingly realistic looking doll.
Oh boy.
Like, I don't know what you were expecting, but I bet you it looks more realistic than you thought.
It was not that.
No.
Yeah. Give the people an impression.
A ripped old man.
Yeah, a very physically fit. He reminds me of when I taught the old Filipino science teacher, Mr. Piemonte. I bet if he took off his shirt, he would look this ripped.
I love that.
Shout out to Mr. Piemonte.
Wherever you are, Mr. Piemonte. I literally am looking at this like so zoomed in, and I would still, I tell you right now, it passes the uncanny.
Oh yeah.
It's very bizarre.
Yeah, it's
really,
very,
really,
very real.
really bizarre. He's like posed. He's holding a mask. I don't know. I think you can move him. I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, according to what we know for sure is true, this doll, and obviously these pictures will be in the show notes. The doll is from Yokohama, Japan. Was completed in 1885 by a master Ningyo artist called Hananuma Masakichi. But here's Mathis with the legend from the article. Nice, concise little story for us here.
The legend is that you say Kuchi or Kichi? Masakichi. Masakichi completed this particular doll in 1885 when he was desperately in love but was dying of tuberculosis. He decided to make a lifelike statue in his own image to gift to his beloved so that she might always remember him. As he wasted away, he labored in his studio, surrounded by mirrors so that he could see every part of his body. He forged the statue out of 2,000 pieces of wood, recreating every curve and crevice. He drilled small holes into the doll's skin to act as follicles, then plucked the corresponding hair out of his own body and inserted the strands into the doll. He did this with the hair on his head, but also eyebrows, body hair, and even pubic hair. Some rumors say he gave the doll his fingernails. Others claim it was his teeth, though Meyer says the doll's mouth is not open wide enough for anyone to confirm. Despite his efforts, the woman he loved left Masakichi, possibly because he spent all his free time making this doll. And as it would turn out, he either didn't have tuberculosis or made a miraculous recovery. He lived for another decade before dying penniless at the age of 63. Which adds to 9.
Yeah.
And then something about not 379.
Three threes is 9. That's, that's mystical for us, especially. And, as beautiful and perfect as that kind of story is, the whole mystery around this... it's a poetry story, right? The whole mystery around this weird ass doll is just that we're not sure if this story is true. Because as Japanese doll expert Alan Scott Pate will tell you, there is no tradition of self-portraiture in Japan, particularly at this time. It was very likely that the statue was just a hyper-realistic doll, and it's not necessarily Masakichi himself. And if you go along with that line of thinking, you'll also notice that he's got more of a lean workman's figure to him, like a basket peddler. You guys were saying he was buff, maybe like a rickshaw driver. And that while everybody's pretty sure the doll does in fact contain human hair apparently at the time in Japan was apparently plentiful and available at art supply stores like brushes or paints were. So there's no way to tell if the hair actually is Masakichi's hair. However, we do know that the doll made its way over here in 1894 when it first went on display at the International Temple of Art in Sacramento, brought over by someone only known as, quote, Colonel Smith. And interestingly, there is indeed evidence of it being referred to as a self-portrait of the artist at the time, though there's nothing about the love story until a little later and more just about how fucking real the goddamn thing looks. And then the thing traveled around, and supposedly in 1898, there's a picture of Masakichi standing next to his doll in an issue of Strand magazine, which is remarkable. The first of many times someone has had this idea for showing off the doll, but according to Pate, the doll expert, both pictures in the magazine are very clearly of the doll every single time. And in Strand, it was next to a picture of a two-headed turtle. So just to give you an idea of like where on the vibes of seriousness it was next to a two-headed turtle. When Ripley found it in the early 1900s, it was at the art saloon in San Francisco, and Ripley used to go in there and drink his ass off, and it would blow his fucking mind. And finally, after the doll got arrested for indecent exposure in 1905 for his very realistic penis, and the saloon was heavily damaged in the 1906 earthquake, it moved to a little novelty and curio shop in San Francisco where it stayed until 1934, when the owner of that shop died and Ripley was finally able to buy it for $10 cash, which is one of less than 10 objects in his collection that we can confirm with a buying price because we actually have the receipt for it. And he took it all over. He took it to the World's Fair in Chicago. He took it to an auditorium, a Ripley's Auditorium, ODD, in Fisherman's Wharf. It was there from the 60s to the 80s. He took it to Buena Park over by Knott's Berry Farm, where it was briefly, where there was a Ripley's there. That is now closed. There was an earthquake in 1994, the Northridge quake, that fucked up the doll a little bit. And so they stuffed it in a warehouse in LA for a while, where it stayed for many years. Then it was restored, and then it bounced around to Wisconsin and to Orlando, and it was in San Diego for a minute, and now it is where it is today, permanently, at least for now, in Amsterdam, where it's been for about 10 years. And because they are not sure if Masakichi's it's really his hair or not, to stay on the safe side, they're leaving the hair as it is, even though it's falling out, so it looks a little weirder these days. I can't find a picture of it in Amsterdam, but there probably is one. They're leaving the hair as it is, though. So, with that nice little coda, Cornerfest 25 is nearly at its end. If you've been counting, you know that there have been now 24 mysteries, and it is Cornerfest 25, so there should be 25 mysteries. So before I go, I want to do one more mystery, and that mystery is called Next Year.
Okay.
Which obviously means this year. It's next year when I wrote it.
Gotcha.
So now it's this year.
Right. Yeah.
One little inconsistency, but that's okay. Here's Jesse with the quote, and here we go.
The mystery is for you, and it's just to use your brain and find out if the Chilluminati is real or not. Full stop. Find the clues and find the Chilluminati. They are waiting.
Oh, no.
Anyway, remember, if you want a nice high-res version of the poster that goes along with Cornerfest 25, which you may use to better receive our message, a special version 2 of the poster has been posted for free for anyone to pick up at patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod. So go check that out.
Last light check.
Thank you for listening. And we'll see you next time for something besides an Alex episode for once. And then Math is going to do one last check to see if the aliens are back. And if they are...
He left. He's already looking.
We're going to find out. We're going to see. I just need one more confirmation.
No go on the aliens.
I feel so good that I finished Cornerfest. It feels cosmic that I didn't miss 1 week of content at all. Again. It's there? Yeah. Seriously?
I'm going to take a picture of it right fucking now. So I have my phone. It's incredible. Higher up where it was before it disappeared on me.
Incredible.
Well, he's gone again.
Guys, please follow us on Blue Sky. We're there now. I think we're all personally on Blue Sky, and also Chilluminati has a Blue Sky account. So go follow us there. We post all our dank memes there, or Instagram, or wherever else.
So dank. So meme.
And what was that? What else was I going to say? I don't remember what it was. It doesn't matter. It's not that big of a deal.
Check out our merch, theeddie.com/Chilluminati.
Theeddie.com. Buy some merch. Yeah, there you go. Actually, no, what it is really that, like, we've been planning a lot more this year. And this was, I know it feels like we're like far into the year now because the last 2 weeks have taken 1 million years. But it's really hyped to be in a new year of Chilluminati with a brand new flavor. And you guys are going to see this is just the beginning of a crazy year of crazy things. And I don't know. I just feel good. I'm going to go play Dragon Quest.
Oh, yeah.
It's the first time I've had like free time in like months. I feel amazing.
But first, we're off to do a mini-sode at patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod.
Oh, you know what? Just in case you didn't know, I've been doing rejected Cornerfest mysteries every week in the mini-sode.
Yeah, it's true.
So if you want a little bit more Cornerfest, go there. Get that. And it's funny. Last time I did one about Shrek.
LVSS subreddit exists. Go scare yourself. All right.
The sequel's
out there. All right. We'll see you guys.
That's what the S stands for.
Thank you so much. We'll be back next week with a non-Alex episode. He cleared out his cache. He can rest.
I'm sleeping for 2 years.
Bye.
Anyway, me and my wife were sitting outside indulging on our porch one night, enjoying ourselves. I needed to go to the bathroom, so I stepped back inside, and after a few moments, I hear my wife go, "Holy shit, get out here." So I quickly dash back outside, and she's looking up at the sky in awe. I look up too, and there's a perfect line of dozen lights traveling across the sky.